The Rescuers Down Under. Ask any fan of Disney or animation, and they will tell you all about the movies of the Disney Renaissance, the period during the 1990s where Disney returned to their former glory and became the masters of animation once again. With movies like The Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, The Lion King, and more, they have been known as some of the most beloved animated features and some of the biggest movies of the decade. That is, except for this one. Back in 1990, Disney released a sequel to their 1977 film, The Rescuers, and unlike the other Renaissance films, this one did not go well. Critics were not fond of it at the time, and it was a commercial failure, leaving it to become one of the most overlooked Disney films. However, thanks to the age of the internet, it seemed to have recently gained some attention, even more so than its predecessor. Not in the veins of The Iron Giant, but debatably no longer considered obscure. But now that it's time to analyze the Rescue Aid Society's second big mission, can the movie soar as high as Marahute? Or did the people of 1990 have a point to leave this movie down under? Let's find out. The story. Like in the previous film, the story of the feature is all one big rescue mission, where a kid named Cody gets captured by a poacher named McLeach in the Australian outback, and it's up to the top agents of the Rescue Aid Society to go and save him. In the last film, the main focus was on the characters and their feelings throughout their journey, which is fine, but doesn't work as well for the type of movie that it is because it really slows the pace. With Down Under, that focus is immediately shifted to where it should have been this whole time, the adventure. Now it's capable of getting things right. This is not about the kid, it's about saving the kid, and the many lengths that Bianca and Bernard would go through in order to do so. This would help the film to raise up the stakes where now it's a matter of life and death, and the pacing is much faster to grasp audiences' attention so they could be at the edge of their seats with the intensity.
Get between the tracks!
However, it's not all about the action and the peril. It does take the time to include some character-driven subplots, on top of bringing back the main elements of the last feature for both newcomers and to refresh the memories of those who have seen the first one. This is where the movie would fill in some of the extra aspects to make it more of a well-rounded feature, including some time to give more development onto the main characters, introduce and interact with the new ones, and balance the gritty action with some lighthearted humor. With the latter, though, it can be a bit of a mix. Sometimes it works and would give the comic relief some charm, while other times would feel a bit immature as if it's just pandering to the little kids that are watching. But luckily, those downsides are pretty rare. And it's great too that it managed to deliver a story that can feel like an adventure. The animation. How many animated films can you think that start off with a bang like that? As it is a film that is part of the Disney Renaissance, the animation presented here is spectacular. Almost everything done here felt like it was masterfully crafted to present the grand scale of this movie. One thing that Disney fans may have noticed is that the character designs got a significant upgrade. They still look as well made like they were before, but now the eyes feel more complete with the whites behind. No more are the days of awkward lines that only give the illusion of completed eyes. I know that sounds rather minor, but artists understand that it's an important detail that can give a character an entire soul. On top of that, the designs also feature many different styles, and yet they're not too variant in order to make sure that these characters look like they belong in the same world. Some, like the mice and the humans, have the classic Disney look with a high level of draftsmanship put onto them. Some, like Frank and Joanna, have a bit of a cartoony nature on them. and others like Marahute are drawn to look as realistic as the animals they're based on. But as great as they look at first, it's the way that they move that really brings these characters to life. This is a film that would require a great amount of research and creativity in order to make these characters move as believable as they can to show how they really are the animals they're representing, and the animators nailed them beautifully.
No mice for you, Twister, not today! There!
Not only that, but this craftsmanship is also needed to make the action scenes feel as intense as they are, presenting them in the right point of views whenever we see either the mice or Cody are in the middle of danger. It also helps that the backgrounds look great as well in order to emphasize the large open spaces of the environment and popping out the bright colors of the outback. If I do have to criticize one thing with the animation, it would be with the use of CGI. It honestly doesn't blend well as its 2D environment, and you could tell that this was made at a time when movies were only starting to use computer effects onto their films. Then again, this was made in 1990, so I can't really blame them if it looks really dated. But outside of that, when Disney nailed the animation here, they nailed it phenomenally. The characters. Like I said before, while the focus is no longer entirely onto the characters, the sequel would still take some time for audiences to know them. Or at least some of them. The best thing this movie did regarding the characters is giving new and further development to Bianca and Bernard. While they still maintain their same characteristics as the first film, Bianca is the optimistic and kind agent that can easily adapt to her environment, while Bernard is the nervous agent that can be timid at times, but tries to build up his courage so he could propose to Bianca. Other than them and the chair mouse though, those are the only characters that return from the first film. But don't worry, the new characters fill the gap quite well. First, there's Wilbur, the brother of Orville from the original. While the character was created mainly because Orville's voice, Jim Jordan, passed away before this movie was made, Wilbur is still a good comic relief by bringing in some fun with John Candy's performance.
You got it? Fair. It's a play on. Never mind. I've got tons of exotic destinations, faraway places, custom designed for a romantic weekend getaway.
There's Jake, the Australian representative of the Rescue Aid Society, who can be a little cocky, but knows his way around the outback and helps Bianca and Bernard along their journey. And then there's Percival C. McLeach, a black-hearted poacher who would stop at nothing to get the giant golden eagle. The way that he's cruel to everyone around him is probably what makes him such an amazing villain. He wouldn't mind imprisoning and trying to kill a little boy just so he could get what he wants. And to top off with an awesome performance by George C. Scott, he would be up there as a strong Disney villain.
But I wouldn't want to disappoint the Rangers. They was looking so hard for you, and now they're gonna find you.
However, I wouldn't say that all characters land their mark. Like, Cody is just the good-hearted kid with not much personality, and Frank is a rather annoying comic relief. In fact, the scenes involving him are kind of pointless when you think about it, since nothing was actually accomplished. Regardless of those scenes though, what makes this adventure even better is that we get to go with these characters. It may not be as popular as the others of its time period, but it is still a great Disney Renaissance movie. The Rescuers Down Under surpassed the achievements done by its predecessor in order to deliver a strong adventure film. Sure, it can have a few minor setbacks, but with the engaging story, amazing animation, intense action, and likable characters, it manages to be possibly Disney's most action-packed feature. If you're ever in the mood to check out a great adventure, then this is definitely worth a watch. In fact, you don't even need to see the first one in order to understand it. Unless you really need context about what the Rescue Aid Society is and how did Bianca and Bernard met. Other than that though, I still say that this is one of Disney's most underrated animated films, and that's why I'll be more than happy to give this the AniMat's seal of approval. Hey guys, this is AniMat. I just want to start things off by giving a huge thanks to Thomas Richardson for his amazing support on Patreon, which allowed him to go and get some awesome rewards, including this one, where he got a chance to request me to review The Rescuers Down Under. And may I say about the movie that there is honestly one thing that I'm pretty much debating myself upon regarding its popularity. Like, right now, is it a popular animated film, or is it still considered underrated? Because, yeah, like, when it began, it pretty much started at the bottom, where critics didn't seem to like it all that much, and it's not really that successful at the box office either. It's almost considered a box office bomb. In fact, it's the only one of the Disney Renaissance where it was a commercial failure, in a sense. But as time would move on and the age of the internet would start to grow, there are some people that are starting to notice The Rescuers Down Under. Now, the one thing I will say though, it's not like movies like The Iron Giant or The Road to El Dorado or maybe even The Secret of Nim, where it really did climb up the ranks where now people accept it as an animated classic. I mean, there are still some people that are unaware about The Rescuers Down Under. Heck, I'm not even sure if those people even know what The Rescuers in general is. And that could probably play a factor onto why is it that not many people are talking about it nowadays. It's mostly the fact that it is a sequel to another lesser-known Disney movie. So, I honestly am not entirely sure, but one thing that I can guarantee is that at least in terms of the popularity right now of The Rescuers Down Under, it is a lot more better than it was when the movie was released back in 1990. And plus the fact that people actually do accept it now as a historical animated feature, considering this is actually the first movie ever to be made 100% purely from the computer. This is the first fully digitally made feature film, considering that at the time, Disney decided they no longer want to use animation cells in order to color their animated features and use the camera and stuff like that. They decided to bring in the computer in order to go and color their characters, like take the drawings, put it on computer, fill in the colors, and also to add in some computer effects as well, like when we see the landscapes of New York or when Wilbur would fly through Sydney. So that's pretty much the big thing. Like, it's no longer an obscure animated feature, and regardless of how popular it is now, people do accept it as a historical animated feature film. But anyways, that is pretty much it with The Rescuers Down Under, and now it is time that we shall go and move on to the animation hat. And before I get things started with this one, let me just say that if you guys would like to be like Thomas and you want to go and support my work and get some awesome rewards at the same time, then all you have to do is go to patreon.com/animat. However, if you guys would like to suggest an animated film you would like me to review and I would put onto the animation hat, then all you have to do is go to Patreon, not Patreon, sorry. You have to write me an email at animatsreviews@gmail.com. Alright, so that said, let's go ahead and pick the next one right over here. Let's see. I mean, we've already... Oh, wait. Yeah. It's a little bit tricky now. Okay, there we go. Now we got one. So, the next review shall be... let's see. What the... Oh, okay, no. Definitely not this one. I already did the review. It's Flight of Dragons, so I know I already did that one, and honestly, it's been a while, actually, but yeah, okay, so I already did the Flight of Dragons. Okay, next one, let's see, okay, there we go, much better. Let's see, the next review shall be, hopefully something that I didn't already review. Oh, man. Okay, this is honestly something that I've wanted to see for a while, actually. Okay, so the thing is that this is going to be something that will be based on a true story, but one big reason that I really am excited for this is mainly because I am a huge Monty Python fan, and I would be interested to see how was the life of the dead man, you know?
Yes, yes, I know it's late, but oh, really? Pajamas? Hello, Frank, how are you? Nice to see you. And Esmeralda, there you are.